I am incredibly excited to announce to you guys a brand new idea coming from the American Congress Party and coming from Clayton Cuteri, that's me, our campaign. This is an amazing idea that is going to change the way that we, the people, interact with government, and is going to bring us one step closer to balance and harmony. Now, the point of our representatives of our government is to, well, straightforward, represent us, represent the interests of the people. And the way that we've kind of kept that check and balance, if you will, is by having elections every 2 to 4 years. But the way, and 6 years for senators. But the way that the world is evolving is that it is evolving at a much more rapid pace. And so, yes, elections need to still be roughly at those increments, but the way that we interact and decide on policy changes has to be much quicker. So this idea is going to tap into that very specific area. And another thing that we look at is accountability and responsibility. There's no way that the government is being held accountable or responsible for the ideas that they're putting forth, especially the ones that are not in our best interests, specifically with the way that we're spending money. The way we're spending money right now is just shipping it overseas, just sending it to whatever war happens to break out. So how can we fix this? How can we make a change, an upgrade, if you will, to the system? And that's what this podcast is going to be about, is that specific upgrade that we've come up with at the American Congress Party. So we need to look at the way that we have relationships with people who we give money to, right? Because the government, we give them money. So if we take a look at how we interact with or have a relationship with, let's say, hotels or restaurants or any of these consumer-based industries, Amazon's a perfect example. When you buy a product, you have a chance to leave a review. You have a chance to give feedback. And the company has to update to that feedback. Because if you have massive amounts of people saying or leaving a complaint, if you will, against a product or against a service, it gives direct feedback to that organization, and they have to make a change. Otherwise, they sacrifice losing money. So we need that exact mechanism to be in place with the government, between the relationship between us and the government. So how do we do that? We create a public ledger. So this is the beauty of what is kind of happening in blockchain, but it's a little bit different with blockchain. But the idea of a public ledger is very simple. There's a document that the American people will be able to see every single place that we're spending your dollars, we the people's dollars. We're going to have a public document that outlines where we're sending every single dollar. So that way there can be accountability within the government. Because right now, trillions of dollars are being wasted, first of all, just on bad payments, on misappropriated payments. I'll drop a link down below. I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but it's to the tune of billions of dollars that are being wasted in just inappropriate payments. And not even just that, but even the things that we do track and we are putting money into, we the people should have direct access to knowing where our money is going. Because the government's supposed to serving we the people. We're not supposed to be the ones serving our government to just keep inflating them with money. So the idea of this public ledger is anytime a spending bill is passed, the public ledger gets updated. And then also, whenever we actually spend the money, that'll be a part of the ledger as well, so that the American people know exactly where the tax dollars are going. And furthermore, there will be a mechanism involved here where if we can talk about the percentages, I don't have an exact knowing of the percentages, but let's say it's like, 50 to 60% of people disagree with how government is spending money, We could also look at this in a rating system. I'm not completely sold on this either way, but maybe it's a rating system where we leave star reviews for each sector and how they're spending money. And if they drop below a certain star rating, like probably below 4.5, then it's government's responsibility to go in and understand what it is that the people want. What do you want? That's what we need to do, is return this government to the people. So whether it's a percentage, whether it's 60% of people vote, whether it's a star rating where you drop below 4 stars, then what happens is it'll trigger an event where the government has to go in and address this specific sector. And maybe there's a specific area within the sector that people are really annoyed with how we're spending the money. There will be accountability. There will be accountability in how we are actually spending our money. This is what we, the people, want. So this is what American Congress Party is going to give to we, the people. So I say all of this as a way to see a path forward to hold the government accountable. Because right now, our government is completely out of control. There are no checks and balances. 70% of Americans don't want us funding foreign wars, and yet Congress seems to think that that's the main priority. And we don't want that. So who are they representing? So when American Congress Party gets into power, a public ledger will be put forth. A public ledger that says, okay, here's where the government is spending money. Do you guys agree or disagree? And we'll have an entire system. I'm a software engineer by trade, went to college for computer engineering. So it's very doable. We'll get the best people on it. We'll have them filling out, creating the code, creating a great UI. Right now, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation about how we need to even update the UI within government websites. So it'll be solid. It'll be a solid UI where you can give direct feedback. You can see real-time spending. And even more so, will help us get a handle on the 34, I don't know, is that 35 yet? The $34 trillion spending deficit that we have, with interest to private banks, to foreign countries, so that we can return the power to America. Because as great as America is, it can be so much better. It can be so much better. I talk to people every day who are seeming to get by, if you will, who some of them feels like they've lost hope. And we have to restore that hope, because the founding principles of our country are some of the greatest in the world. Some of the greatest. So much so that other people have adopted the idea of constitutional republics. And, I think that we can get back there. We definitely can. It just takes people getting involved. It takes an act of rebellion. And it can be a peaceful act of rebellion. I know historically rebellions are always very bloody, but we can do it in a very peaceful way, because our founding fathers knew something like this was possible. Something where the majority of representatives in our country don't serve the interest of we the people. So we can have a peaceful rebellion. We can have a way to put people in power that we want to put in power. But it takes the power of you. And I know it's daunting. It can seem like you're only one of 300 million. But in reality, we're so much more powerful than that. We just have to realize it and come together. And that's what American Congress Party is it's a place for all of us to come together. And so one way you can get involved, if you live in the 17th district of PA, you can vote for me. But let's just speak nationally right now. If you live nationally, you can join the American Congress Party. You can update your voter registration. Just type in your state, go into Google or wherever you search, DuckDuckGo, Quant, and search, your state, and then type in voter registration, change party. And I don't think there'll be a checkbox, but just click other and then type in American Congress Party. And this is It seems, again, these things seem so small. But if you know anything about the butterfly effect, the smallest little effort moving in the right direction, moving in the correct direction, will have the greatest impact on everyone. And my life story, I don't have time to get into it now, but my life story is nothing but a simple way of putting it, a basic way of putting just one small action after another has the greatest and most profound impact. So it's time that we start making those small steps in the direction that we want to go, and tell both sides, Democrat, Republican, that we no longer want to go those directions. We no longer want to do these things that are being set forth. And I hear stories every day of Gen Z and millennials who realize that we're no longer being served by the current, it's not even just the administration, but the current politicians who are running this country. And I've even been talking, and I don't even want to say it's millennial, Gen Z. You can go up the list. I've even seen, baby boomers, Gen X, everything. All of them are basically talking about how they can see it. That's all I can say for sure, is I can see in their eyes that they see that the landscape that has been laid out for us is not, it's not optimal. It's not optimal by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm here to say, and I want you to take away from this, is that it can be. And I feel that so many people are just searching for a vision or a purpose to hold on to. And when you don't have a vision or a direction, you're lost. You're confused. You're wandering around the world, not sure where to go. And so hopefully American Congress Party, hopefully my campaign, can be a beacon of the direction of where we want to go and where we can go and where we can be, which is a world, and let alone a world. Let's start off with a country that's no longer divided, a country that is unified, where we emphasize, we bold, we italicize the word united in the United States of America. So one of those ways you can get involved is change your voter registration. Another way you could get involved right now, if you're watching this, and maybe even in the future I'll still need these, is video editors. So right now I'm on a big push personally, just for my personal podcast, Traveling to Consciousness. I'd love to get a YouTube video editor for the podcast and get someone to create reels. I've had a couple people reach out about this, but they were kind of more in the realm of wanting to work in like NGOs and nonprofits, which we're going to find some work for them too. And so any way that you want to get involved, even something I said today sparked an interest. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you have an idea of how the world can be a better place. Shoot me a message. Because these ideas, I was just recently on a podcast and I hit me like a ton of bricks, is like, these ideas aren't even mine. These are your ideas. These are the ideas of we the people. I merely just want to be, or at least am putting my hat in the ring to say, hey, here's someone who's going to support these ideals, who's going to represent these ideas that we the people desire. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about you. It's about the American people. And even just at some level, it's about everyone in the world, so that there's peace, so we can have prosperity for all. And right now, the direction of putting chemicals in the water, putting chemicals in our food, in the air even. I saw they're doing cloud seeding now, which I think is now just getting mainstream. I think it's been around a lot longer than that, but it seems like they're just reporting on it. We have to stop poisoning our environment. We have to upgrade our education system. Parents are no longer involved in the upbringing of their children, and that's something for an even different podcast. But the point I'm trying to say here is that, and the whole idea I'm trying to get back to is that we're not in charge of our government anymore. American people, we the people, are not in charge of our government anymore. So this idea of a public ledger will be a great way to get more people involved. And another way you can get more people involved for the movement, not just for government, but even for government at a certain point, is to share this video, like it, however you're doing this, whether you're listening on podcasts or on Apple or Spotify or some other brand, whether you're watching this on YouTube, share this. Share this. Let other people know. Say, hey, this is a great idea. What do you think? Because that's how this is going to grow, is word of mouth. And beyond word of mouth, it's going to grow by getting feedback. Because I can't stress this enough, is that it's not about me. I know my name's the one on the ticket, but it's not about me. It's about you. It's about we the people and returning the power of government to you. And this is where this new idea, I don't even know if it's a new idea. I guess it's something that has been an idea, but we're going to actually start implementing with government, is the idea of a public ledger, so that you know exactly where your money is going and you can decide if this is the direction you want us to keep spending your money. And if you don't, you rate it poorly, you vote against it, and then government has to address it. Fundamentally, they have to address it. So this is the latest idea, and I know we're going to have a lot more ideas coming forward. So change your voter registration, shoot me a message if you're a good video editor. I'd love to even just sit down and chat. Excuse me. I'd love to sit down and chat and just see how you can contribute. Even if it's not to me, maybe someone else needs a video editor. We got to come together. That's the only way that this is going to happen, is we have to come together. And before I get out of here, I do want to make a huge shout out to Isaac. One of my followers sent me this pyramid. It's, I believe, made out of many different materials. He put my birthstone in here, which I didn't even know what it was. I guess I kind of still don't know. It's kind of like this aqua color. He put in copper, he put in gold, and quite frankly, it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it just has a presence to it. It's like a magnetic presence. I don't know how else to describe it other than that, but it just, you know what it is it instead of doom scrolling through my phone, I would rather just stare at this thing. So you can either spend your time just looking at mindless content, or you could spend your time looking at a really cool pyramid. So I just wanted to plug him because he sent me a pyramid just out of nowhere. He was like, hey, love what you're doing. Here's a pyramid, enjoy. And then I was like, dude, these are so sick. Like, this thing's so cool. I want to take it everywhere. I do think he needs to get like a little stand. I have like this like cork thing, but he was saying that he's going to put together stands in the future. But dude, it's so cool. It's probably a little bit size, probably about the palm of your hand. It's great. And I know he makes a lot of other stuff, so I'll put a link down below for that as well. But it's things like this, guys, of just helping each other. All right. That's what we got to do, is help each other. Put each other, he didn't even ask for it. And I'm just sitting here because it's such a great product that I just want to promote it. So let's help each other. That's the core of all of this, right? The core of even the, excuse me again, the core of even the party, the core of my campaign, the core of who I am is just, let's help everybody. Because the way I see it is that we've all been put on this earth for a divine mission, a very special mission, a very unique mission that's unique to each one of us. And we have to fulfill that. We have to fulfill that. Whether it's by God's gift, whether it's by, whatever you believe in, spirit, nature, we all have a divine purpose on this earth. And so the only way that I see that I'm able to fulfill my divine purpose is if I help other people fulfill their divine purpose. So reach out. If you need help in some way, let me know, and I'll do the best that I can to the best of my ability to help you. And I think that's all we can do. That's all we can do. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this, please share, subscribe, like, do all the stuff, comment, leave a comment. What was your favorite part about the podcast? What are your thoughts on the public ledger? That's a good thing. If you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere that you can leave comments, what do you think is the way that we should approach the voting system within the public ledger? Is it something over 50%? Is it a 60% supermajority? Should we do a star system where once you drop below 4 stars? Let me know, because that's great feedback. Again, this is supposed to be a representative democracy, a constitutional republic. Let's restore that. So with all that being said, I love you guys. And if I do not see you in this dimension, I know for sure that we'll see each other in the sixth dimension.